Namatu Ratana Tayasa. May I pay homage to Triple Gem, the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. My respect goes to my parents and my teachers. Hello, good evening, everyone. So, this is the new technology here. So, today is the 10th, Wednesday, the 10th of March 2021. And this is Achan Sujan from Warapunya Meditation Center, Aberdeen, Scotland. So as usual, I'm here with you all tonight, sharing some insights and reading from the discourse and elaborating from it. And meanwhile, as I said, that if you have any questions, you can post, and then in a due time, I will try my best to answer from my understanding. So today, again, Monday, I mentioned about one of the members passed away due to the old age. He passed away at the age of 83. And yesterday, some of you may know, some of you may know the Roy. He passed away as well, which I didn't know. I was told by his brother who came up to see me yesterday and saying that he passed away due to the excessive drinking alcohol, and which is quite sad. I do remember that when he came to meditate at the beginning, even was like 4 or 5 years ago, he began to meditate and he was talking and that he could he could recognize and notice his desire to drink alcohol and trying to reduce and engaging in different other activities. And I was very pleased to hear that. Later on, as we moved here, and again, he was on a weekly basis coming up and meditating. And about 2019, before I went to Thailand for the 4 months retreat, we had a small chat. And at that time, he again went back to the drinking alcohol. And sadly, I didn't have any chance to see him anymore. And even after that, but I did have a chance to see his brother John sometimes, and he was saying that Roy is drinking excessively, and it happened that he couldn't stop drinking, and as a result, health deteriorated and finally basically killed by his own behavior, drinking alcohol. And it reminds me that the Dave McFarlane that I mentioned on Monday, there was one occasion that we had a Katina ceremony, which is our annual Katina ceremony. Every year we have 3 outdoor events, and one of them is a Katina ceremony, that is the offering a robe to the venerable monks, which requires quite a significant amount of preparation. We have to have more than 5 monks and need members to sponsor the travelings and the other expenses like that. And one of the years in our Katina ceremony, and again in a Katina ceremony, we raise funds to support the center by having a money tree. And I was told that on one year, on one occasion, that Katina ceremony, he came up with a few pounds, as 20 pounds, and then he was trying to put in on that money tree. And when he was trying to put that money, that 20 pounds on the money tree, he invited other members to join with him as a part of offering, not rather than just one person is taking part of offering this 20 pounds. He invited other members to join with him so that everyone will gain the merit And as he offered that, he mentioned to the members that this is my savings from my smoking. So after he gave up smoking, he saved money, and he was, basically he was saying that he saved significant amount of money, and that money he was using for the social cause. And some of them also came to the center. And similarly, there is another John who lives in Aberdeen too. And he said that he was smoking for such a long time, and his fingers become very dark, and then those pimples, like a pimples, big pimple, very shiny, was coming out, and his face was very kind of a slippery, plastery way. And then about 2 years ago, he had some problem, physical problem, and then we told him that this is because you're drinking, you are smoking too much, but he didn't listen. So he went to the doctor, and then a doctor told him that one of the causes is smoking. And then after hearing that, that was it. He stopped. He stopped immediately, and then he never took it until now. And I still remember after a few months later, he told me, saying that if I had known how much damage this smoking can do to my body, to my physical health, I would have not touched it from the beginning. And that was what he said. And then over the period of time, gradually he was able to control his emotions, this desire to consume the smoking, and gradually his health got better, and those pimples just disappear, and gradually they disappear, and those hands were so dark with like a orangey one, all gone, and his face becomes so charming. And every time when I go, he's very happy and a charming and a face and a happy face like that. And oftentimes he also offers me some pounds, saying that, oh, this is for the travel expense, or sometimes he give me this is for chocolates. And then he said, oh, this is from my savings of not taking this smoking. So this saved. And meanwhile, there is another story that I would like to bring up here, that one of members, when he was coming to the center, he began to reduce his drinking alcohol, and he spent more time in practice of a meditation, and he was like engaging in a chantings, coming to me, and we normally used to have a chantings and long discussions and practices like that. So gradually he gained more understanding, and gradually he was developing his insight. But after a few years later, what happened that he just slipped away from the practice and indulged into the worldly affairs, and went into the same herd where his previous friends were just having, going to the pubs and drinking alcohols, and just staying outside the house much of the time, and spend much of the time drinking alcohols. And that was very sad, and he became a distance from the center and distance from the practice, and kind of morally deteriorated himself. And as a result of that, he not only faced the physical difficulties, but also family breakdowns and other problems too. So I wish that he could have stayed, in having a good friends as his friends, associating with the good friends. I do not see anything will be go wrong, as I have seen. Similar story. There is another man who used to come to the practice of a meditation and gain a little bit of understanding. And when he had a difficult times, he was able to channel his practice and regain his understanding, and stood in his feet. But later on, after the center moved to the Scotland, moved to West Hill, coming and going and become little difficult for him. And as a result of that, he again went back to the pub, associate with the people, those who are drinking much of the time. And at the initial stage, he thought that he was helping others to come out from the drink, because he was having an argument with, not argument as a fight, but he had an argument with me, saying that in order to help people, those who are in those states, we have to be in those states, and only then we can lift and we can help them. And I couldn't argue further. He had that view, and I said, okay, best of luck, and I hope that you will not go back into the same situation. And a few months or years passed, and I was always checking him. And later on, as he go into deeper into the drinking, he gradually, slipped away from the practice, and now I see only very red eyes, red face, very unconscious and difficult to talk to me, and like that. And this is very sad, very sad. And this is one of the stories that similar happened to Mr. Roy, who was quite fit enough and quite charming and quite talking and quite engaging with everyone, and beginning to practice, and somehow he slipped away into the same habit pattern. So that's quite a sad story. And there was one lady as well. I don't want to now. These people I don't want to name, so I don't want to bring a shame and pinpointing. There was a lady as well. Initially, I have known her through the chaplain, and then she came. Basically, it happened that her husband passed away, and she couldn't bear with it, and as a result, she took a refuge on the drinking alcohol. Later on, she came to the center, practiced meditation, and studied, and even did this 8 weeks classes with David and me. And she was basically recovering from that drinking. But due to this, the COVID-19, again, she didn't have chance to talk to us. Not to talk to us, she could if she would like to, but she didn't have chance to come to the center or attend any events. And as a result of that, she went back to the drinking alcohol. And later on, I was, I got a call from her daughter asking me to help. And then, how can I help if she is not ready to listen? And then I told her that, okay, I'm happy to talk to her, and I'm happy to see her if she wants me. But it's not you, but she needs to talk to, and she needs to open up and ready to talk to me. And because as me being a monk, and then kind of a teacher, sometimes it's feeling of shame. So as a result, they do not want to come forward. So that's why I told her, but I haven't heard any calls from her too. So that's why this is quite a sad story. Not only the story like this, but also there is one man whom I have known since 2005. And when I came to UK for the first time in 2005, I didn't speak English much, so he is being an Englishman. Normally he would come to talk to me, and I just listen most of the time. Not like now I'm talking at all the time, become a talkative. so become and those days he was also going AA for his this alcohol problem, and then he came and we discussed and we talked, and then gradually he always said one thing, that okay, Achan, now it's time to change my life. Now I'm going to give up this drinking, and then we'll learn, practice meditation and learn Buddhism. I should spend time practicing meditation. I should spend time study Buddhism and like that. Sadly, every time when I call him, he's still drinking, and the same sentence repeats, yeah, I know, Achan, I will give up and I will do it again. So these are the quite a sad stories that I have come across, and then also there are some good stories like Dave McFarlane, who was able to overcome his desires of drinking and smoking. All the savings that he got from that, he was supporting the centers and for the social towards the society. So these are, and when you look at this concept, this the habits, this is called the habits or addicted, and the people even ask me, what do you think of addiction? Addiction of smoking, addiction of coffee, addiction of drugs, alcohols, and any other things, even the social media addiction, peeking in on social media at all the time, and sort of these things. Actually, this addiction is not addiction, but only different is that we haven't understood our feelings properly. And we haven't understood our desires properly, and because of that, we always go back as an easy option to feel better. Now, if you've been practicing meditation, then you will be able to recognize immediately the moment when you are having those desire to have it. Now, let's say if you're smoking, you will take the smoke every now and then just to feel better, just to escape from what you're doing, or just to change your view, change your perceptions. But does that really change? No, it's just a misconception. And again, you will be coming back again. And now, suppose you have given up. And at the initial stage, what happens is that you will have this desire to have it again and again. Where this desire comes, where you feel that desire. Now, if you've been practicing meditation, you will be able to recognize those feelings in your body. Yeah, in your body. At this moment, bodily functioning is ordering mind to have it. Yeah? Bodily functioning or chemical changes influencing minds to have those substances. Now, if you are very strong-minded, then as soon as that arises, you will be able to overcome it immediately without any troubles at all. Whenever there is a need of it, rather than thinking that if I am not having it, I will be in depressed, I will be in trouble, I won't be able to function properly, forget about those doubts. Oh no, it's just knowing that feeling, then you will be able to overcome very easily. Very easily. It will be a little difficult for 1 month or maybe 2 months maximum. But normally, according to the psychology, it says that it takes about 21 days to change our habit patterns, and which is true. I think I have told about my habit drinking coffee, and I was so addicted drinking coffee, and in the past I used to drink coffee so much that maybe 4 or 5 cups or cups of coffee, and every time walking past the Costa Coffee, and never miss the Costa Coffee, and sometimes even the espresso, like that. Huh? So these are the things, and then what happened was that I gradually developed this desire to have a fresh coffees. So as I developed this desire to have this fresh coffees, I even had a thought of buying these machines, and buying those proper fresh coffees. And it happened that I was visiting Switzerland. I was giving a talk in Austria, and then visiting Switzerland. And we went to stay in one of the temples just behind the Mount Alps. From the temple, you could see this white Mount Alp all around, that line horizon. It's beautiful. And it happened that on that night, this beautiful, a coffee maker there, and then I was just having okay, there was a monk who was functioning and offering a coffee. It smells so good. Yeah, it smells so good. And I had a thought that, okay, tomorrow morning, first in the morning, I will wake up, make up myself, and go to get the coffee before the chanting. And I did. I went, but I didn't know how to function this huge machine, coffee making machine. And I was very upset. It was already time for the chanting. I was looking around how to function it. The electricity was on, the switch was on, but it's still not working. And it was so frustrating. I was so angry. And yet, I had to go for the chanting. And I was chanting. Can you imagine what happens? My chanting was a coffee chanting. My meditation was coffee making meditation. So my mind was constantly thinking about the coffee, 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 coffee. So my meditation was a coffee meditation. And after that, after the meditation finished and we had a breakfast, while we were having a breakfast, one of the monks came and said, "Venerable sir, what would you like to drink?" And I said, "I wanted to drink a coffee, but I couldn't have it." I say, "Okay, after breakfast, I will take you and teach you how to run this machine." So I went, and it was so easy. There was two switches I switched on, only one, but another one I didn't. How silly, how ignorant I was. And then he offered me a coffee, and I said, "No, I'm not going to have a coffee." But last night, before that time, when we were having a coffee, I asked him that where he bought that coffee machine from. He said Costco. And I felt, wow, Costco is just down the road, down the road from us. And then what about this coffee grains? Oh, this is also from Costa. Oh, this is a paradise for me. I could walk half an hour and get to Costco and get those coffees delivered to me, right? Though that much thought I was having it, but unfortunately it didn't function. And then the next morning when he offered me, I said no. And that was my finishing point. And I stopped taking coffee completely from that on. And when I came back to Aberdeen, wherever I see the coffee shops, I thought, why I'm going to a coffee shop now? I can't drink anything. And it took me about probably 2 months to figure out that in the coffee shops, they do not sell only coffees. They sell the hot chocolates, and then the teas as well. So that's how again, whenever people invite me for like small chattings and meetings, then I began to go to the Costas like that. So that's why it's not the addiction is the problem, but it is how we do recognize that, and then ability to stop very moment when it is there. And that is the self-discipline that comes from the practice of a meditation. Because the moment when we gain our concentration, gain our awareness about our own physical body, what happens is that whenever these desires come, doesn't matter what it is, whenever these desires come, immediately it sends the signals to our brain, and this brain will simply sends the other signals to see the chemical change in our body. And when we recognize those chemical changes that takes place in our body, then that moment, aha, now this is happening. Immediately, you will be able to control yourself and say, okay, I'm not going to have it. So strongly, with your own resolution and determination, you are saying no to it. And that's how you will be able to overcome. And now I can drink coffee, and also I can say no. There is no fix that I must have it. Sometimes I do take now after a couple of years later, but now it's not like a conditioning me to wake me up in the morning to have a coffee. So that's why addiction is not the problem. The problem is how much mindful you are and ability to deal with your mind. So do not blame to the coffee, do not blame to the alcohol, do not blame to the cigarettes that is making me this habit happening. They will not come to you if you do not go. And all what you need is to be mindful and not to take it. Okay, so I wish you all the best and ability to overcome those substances, so-called addictions, and be free from it, and attain and gain a more mindfulness and awareness, so that you can channel your life towards the better world, better life. I end here for tonight's talk, and thank you everyone, and in a few moments time you're going to have evening chanting and guided meditation. You're most welcome to join with us. Until then, good night and see you shortly. Thank you. May you be blessed. Satu.